Hello everybody and welcome back to a brand new episode of our F122 My Team Career Mode. I hope you're all having a great day. Today we head to the pinnacle of F1 here in the British GP. Very excited to head to the Silverstone circuit, fresh off of our home race in Montreal at the Canadian GP, which had an unfortunate end with myself actually crashing out of the race within the final 5 laps. So that was a very unfortunate end to that episode here in Montreal, and now we took a plane back to the United States headquarters for our track racing team and then set out here to this British GP circuit at Silverstone. So I was very excited, like I said, for this one, and continuing to try and get as many upgrades to this car as possible, but it's so tough early on in this My Team Career Mode to keep up with everybody, and we definitely need to try and find a way to be bringing more money into the team as well. And of course I really want to look at maybe upgrading the main specifics of being able to improve the speed of upgrades. That's kind of what I want to look at when we're doing like facility upgrades with our money, is getting the speed of the R&D upgrades to be a little bit quicker, because I feel like that's kind of where we're falling behind right now here as we come through to make our first laps on this Silverstone circuit. A lot more fun to drive Silverstone in this F122 game compared to the F1 2021 game here now, as the AI are significantly better balanced here in this game than they were in F1 2021, especially when you went through cops. It was so bad, and the AI could just haul the mail around there while you really had to back out of the throttle and really could not stick with them to save your life. So very happy with the changes here. I mean, every track so far, in my opinion, has been improved in this game quite drastically. I'm curious because we have Austria coming up here. I remember how rough that game was in F1 2021, especially with the AI trying to come into the pit lane, and it would actually cause incidents like every single GP. There would be like 2 or 3 safety cars, it felt like, because of that. So I'm hopeful that track is adjusted. I haven't watched any career modes there. I've been watching, of course, Arava, Team at Marduk, Tom97, Matt212. I've been watching all of their My Team videos and just learning as much as I can from what they're doing to adapt it to my videos as well. But as well to kind of get a feel of what some of the upcoming races are like, because I know Matt212 is just so far ahead of everybody else here now as we come through into the British GP qualifying here after what a weekend it was in real life for the British GP, with Carlos Sainz getting his first win in Formula 1. Can Carlos Sainz get his first win in Formula 1 here, part of this My Team Career Mode at the same track he got it in real life? We'll have to wait and see. He has to go up against a very, very tough to beat Charles Leclerc, Ferrari teammate here, as Leclerc looks to continue his dominance into today's episode after yet another win in the last episode in the Canadian Grand Prix now. But here we were in Q1 putting our lap times down and hoping for the best, and my first lap, it was a bit sloppy. I always have a sloppy first lap. I don't know what it is. What doesn't matter what F1 game it is, my first lap of qualifying always a bit sloppy. We were currently P8, but as expected we would drop quite significantly down the order, surprisingly only to about P16 here, as we came through to start our second and final lap of this first qualifying session. Caught a little bit of the curb right there in the left-hander, not what we want to be doing, and got very close to getting a track invalidation, but we come through comps and we gained about 0.3 of a second at this point here through the SSO. This is an opportunity to either gain or lose a significant amount of time here. Overall, we actually basically held it pretty level here, but about 0.4 of a second better, and actually as we came through towards this final chicane, nearly half a second better. And if we can nail this final chicane and final corner, we might be able to gain a little bit more time. Here goes the time. It goes up to about 0.7, maybe even 0.8 of a second as we cross the line. It puts us P8 briefly. We would fall all the way down to the 16th position here, which actually gets us into Q2. We're the last one to advance into Q2 over Lance Stroll, and our teammate Piastri about half a second off of me. That's, I think, the biggest difference we've had on pace so far this season. So now into Q2, and well, as you guys know, with our car, there's not much that goes into Q2 for us. We really can't do anything, so it was more or less just get a lap in, see what we can do here, and I made this lap right towards the end of the session, and I put up a relatively decent lap, it felt like, at the time, and I didn't really make too much sloppy issues like I did in my first lap of Q1. So we come through out of the final corner and we cross the line and actually go P14 briefly, but it would actually be dead last in Q2. We would be P16. So we will start the Silverstone British GP from the 16th starting position, which I will take. Let's hope we can finish a little bit better than that. Let's head to the grid here for the Silverstone GP.
Welcome along then to Great Britain and the Great Silverstone circuit for today's Grand Prix. The 3.6-mile-long Silverstone circuit is one of the longest of the season, with 18 corners in the current layout. With average lap speeds reaching around 145 miles per hour, it's also one of the quickest tracks of the year. Watch out for cars taking the right-handers of Abbey and of Copse flat out. It's time to see how our drivers are stacking up after yesterday's exciting qualifying session. A fantastic effort from Charles Leclerc yesterday, and it's put him on pole, edging out Max Verstappen, who'll start from P2. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Perez, Sainz, George Russell and Hamilton, Fernando Alonso, Mick Schumacher, Tsunoda and Guan Yu Zhou, Ocon, Magnussen, Valtteri Bottas and Ricciardo, Golden Boy, Stroll, Lando Norris and Pierre Gasly, Albon, Oscar Piastri, Vettel and Nicholas Latifi. Now it's almost time for lights out, so let's go down to the track. And with me as usual is Anthony Davidson. Why don't we discuss Red Bull? What do you make of their performance so far this season?
Well, the atmosphere within that team seems very positive at the moment. Everyone seems like they're in great spirits and having a lot of fun doing what they do, and that's definitely contributed to the performances we've seen.
Home race for this, or for many teams here on the grid, but not our team or Haas, both American teams on the grid here now as we are ready to go lights out. And as usual, medium to hard compound strategy. What's new as we get ready for this British GP here from the Silverstone circuit? What a beautiful circuit it is. That building on the right is so cool to look at now as we're going to get underway for this formation lap. Now, P15 due to some grid penalties, so we do gain one spot compared to where we qualified, but nothing's different up at the front of the grid. You got the likes of Leclerc on pole for the 10th episode in a row. He's been on pole every single episode of this My Team Career Mode. It has not changed today, but you got signs up there. Verstappen, Perez, Hamilton, Russell. You got to watch out for all of them. Mercedes continues to be closer and closer to Red Bull. Let's see if they can put a good fight to them today. Maybe even Ferrari. Is this going to be 5 red lights? And it will be lights out, and we are underway with Charles Leclerc leading the way down into turn 1. As usual, it's a good start for him. A great start for Carlos Sainz, who gets past Verstappen down into turn 1. Perez there is going to hold on to that second position here as we head through these first couple of corners. 3 wide briefly in the background. You saw the couple of Haas drivers, and a big send from one of the Haas drivers. I think that might have been Kevin Magnussen in the number 20. Yes, it was. Kevin Magnussen, a huge lunge up the inside of Schumacher. It worked out. No contact made. He continues on, and now Schumacher is going to struggle to pass Esteban Ocon there in that Alpine, but they're going to be wheel to wheel here down this first short straightaway towards this left-hander, and such a just menacing left-hander. It's so easy to screw this corner up here, but fortunately everyone's able to get through there pretty well now as you go through this sweeping right-hand carousel, and so important to get the power down. And if you're on the outside of somebody here, usually you have quite an advantage right there with the power down and the traction, especially if you can pin them on the inside closer to that curbing. Now as they head side by side into Copse, you don't want to do that, gentlemen, but it looks like they're going to make it work here briefly. Nearly some contact there between Schumacher and Ocon. They continue side by side. They've been side by side for just about the whole lap at this point here. Now I thought I just saw some debris go flying in the background, but Schumacher gets the position. Ricciardo goes through as well, and Ocon gets the short end of the stick on that one here as you continue to watch the rest of the grid sorted out there. Leclerc out in front over Perez, Sainz, as well as Verstappen and the Mercedes duo of Hamilton and George Russell. 3 wide there with the 2 Alfa Romeos and an AlphaTauri. Zhou Guanyu and Bottas are going at it now. As you can see in the background, though, it looks like a McLaren has come into the pit lane, and it looks like it's going to be actually Lando Norris who was in the pits there with some form of wing damage there. As you see some oversteer for myself, I'm actually under attack here from the Williams, but here comes Piastri, our teammate, up the inside of Alex Albon there, down into turn 1, trying to get his elbows out. It wasn't a great start for me as usual. It was a subpar start from Piastri, who's trying to put the fight here as much as he can. There's a big lunge from the Australian there up the inside of Albon again, but it's not going to work out, so Piastri settles down in that 18th position. So we hold on currently to P16, so we lost 1 spot on the start of the race, but right back to where we actually qualified here. I wasn't quite sure what kind of pace I was going to be able to put up here in the GP, and unfortunately we kind of got stuck right off the bat here in 16th place, trying to run down Pierre Gasly as well as Lance Stroll here, but DRS at this point enabled, so they were about to start scrapping it out. I was hoping, because the AlphaTauri is definitely faster than the Aston Martin. That's exactly what would happen. They would start scrapping it out. We know Lance Stroll doesn't make it easy on anybody. He's almost like, you could say, in this game so far, the Ryan Newman of NASCAR. Once you might have a faster car than him, but once you get to him, he's not going to let you go. He's going to fight you to the death, it feels like here. Now you can see exactly what I'm talking about. There goes Stroll back up the inside there, just making it a pain for Gasly here. They're going to be side by side. I'm absolutely loving this because it's allowed me to close in by over a second on these two drivers, and now Gasly finally completes the pass, and we would settle in behind here now. As you can see, Perez actually under attack from Carlos Sainz, the Spaniard, here into the left-hander. This is for the second position. They're not going to work for Sainz, so he's going to actually fade in behind Perez and hold on to P3 currently. But then on the next DRS straight, here goes Verstappen now at the inside of Carlos Sainz. So he says, you take a shot at my teammate, I'm going to take a shot at you here with the next opportunity now. Sainz holds him off there, and now we'll continue to run in that third position here. But here comes George Russell alongside Max Verstappen, trying to steal that fourth position here. Now go the long way around into that final corner. Lewis Hamilton ready to pounce in the background as well. They're side by side down into turn one. Who's going to back out? It's going to be nobody. Side by side into turn one. You got two of the British drivers here up in the top six with both Russell and Lewis Hamilton here as well. As you look a little bit further down the order now, you can see Oscar Piastri here on lap 7 actually scrapping it out here with Sebastian Vettel as well as Nicholas Latifi. They were 3 wide. Why are we 3 wide for 18th place on through 20th place? I will never know, but actually you can see in the background right there, Latifi is actually going to come into the pit lane in the Williams now, as these two would continue to battle it out, but it would be Sebastian Vettel actually getting the edge over Piastri here as we come through to lap 9 of this GP. And we hadn't actually lost too much time to Lance Stroll here now after we were able to close up on him. Gasly, however, would run away here as we continue to see this battle actually on lap 11 brewing between Verstappen and Russell here, who's trying to go around the outside of Russell like he did to him, as you now see Hamilton stick his nose up the inside, 3 wide briefly there, backs out of it. That's the smart thing, but Verstappen's actually going to take 4th place back. Here comes Hamilton up the inside of his teammate now of George Russell, and he's going to take 5th place, and no, sorry, Russell holds on to 5th place, and Hamilton continues to hold on to that 6th position. Really good racing so far in the Silverstone GP, and now actually yellow flags on the track, man, but it looks like it might be for Charles Leclerc. It is for Charles Leclerc. He is actually going to be out of the session. He is not going to win finally. Leclerc, we've been wondering, when's the bad luck going to strike? There it is. Leclerc with a mechanical failure is out of the British Grand Prix here at the same lap here at the end of lap 12. We're going to come into the pit lane here to put on the hard compound tire, but what a just unfortunate series of events there for Leclerc, who's out for the first time this season, and this puts it into the hands of now Carlos Sainz or potentially Sergio Perez, or don't even rule out still Verstappen, even Russell and Hamilton here now as we put on the hard compound tire. We came in behind Stroll. We actually beat Lance Stroll out of the pit lane, so a slow stop right there for Lance Stroll. Now as we move on to these cold hard tires here, and you can already see me struggling immediately as soon as I put the power down into the grass right there, and I had Stroll right on me, so I completely forgot about the cold hard tires about 2 seconds after I had that moment, and I went way too deep into the corner and let Stroll pass. It's actually wheel-to-wheel contact right there with Alex Albon there, an illegal overtake on myself. I felt like, you know, it was an aggressive move right there. We were side by side, and it was just a kind of an awkward moment there. So Albon's going to be able to get past us, so we give the position back here, drop down to now 17th place by Zhou Guanyu there in the Alfa Romeo, fellow rookie of myself, as well as Oscar Piastri is going to look up the right-hand side here. I'm struggling so hard. I definitely noticed the AI, they do struggle on the hard cold compound tires as well, but I feel like I myself struggle way more than they do. Pit stops, though, underway here for the leaders now. Sainz and Perez both going to come in for the hard compound tire, but Perez is actually going to get himself out in front of Carlos Sainz there in the Ferrari, so the Red Bull to the point here will take the lead of this race after the pit cycle is done and sorted out here. Now, as you can see myself here on these hard compound tires, trying to remain within contact of Albon. Vettel had just come out on the hard compound tire. I'm pretty sure Vettel was behind me. I was able to get in front of myself and Albon there, do the overcut here now. As you can already see on lap 15, here goes Carlos Sainz with the DRS up the inside of Perez here through the right-hander. Who's going to come out on top of this battle? Sainz knows that Leclerc out of this race is his opportunity to get his first win in Formula 1. He wants to get it here today. Now wheel to wheel right there between himself and the Red Bull of Perez here through the final corner down the front straightaway. This is not over yet by any means here now, but it looks like Sainz has a little bit more straight line speed here alongside Perez through turn 1, and it's going to be Perez who holds on to the lead. Carlos Sainz has the speed here to potentially beat Perez today. Let's see if we can pull it off now as we come through to a couple laps later for a mid or to late race update here with Perez still leading, and you can see Sainz still remaining with them, but just not close enough now to make a move. Lewis Hamilton was able to actually get up into 3rd place over Max Verstappen. George Russell was 6th, and Alonso actually up into 5th place. Alonso's had a good stretch of races here. Magnussen and Schumacher 7th and 8th place, so currently points for both of them. Bottas inside the top 10, and how about Daniel Ricciardo in the McLaren as well in a position to get some points, as well as you got Yuki Tsunoda and Pierre Gasly with a fantastic recovery starting towards the back of the grid here, now up into 12th place. Zhou Guanyu there in that 13th spot over Lance Stroll and the 4-time world champion of Sebastian Vettel. Then you got Albon, myself, then Nicholas Latifi and Oscar Piastri, who's just really struggling on pace. And I'm noticing that there's there's one Trackhouse car and one Williams car that's running pretty good today. Then there's one Trackhouse and one Williams car that's running really rough today. Now, as you can actually see, Max Verstappen lap 18 now making a move around the outside of Lewis Hamilton. What a pass right there. Verstappen back into 3rd place there to take the final podium position. I myself had just enough pace to be able to hold on to Alex Albon as well as Sebastian Vettel, but I didn't quite have enough pace to be able to just close in on them and you know, make a move on them. So that was a little bit frustrating, but we were still losing overall a little bit of time to both Albon and Vettel, but I was just trying my best to just remain within the DRS zones here within that 1 second threshold, and we were doing a pretty good job of that here in these closing laps here now, as the ending was getting a little bit spicy here on lap 23. Actually, you saw George Russell make a move up the inside of Alonso to the right-hander, and actually Alonso had a lockup, went off circuit there, gave up the position. You see it right there, the right front stops spinning, and down into the 6th position Alonso would go here as we come through to the final couple of laps here in the Silverstone British Grand Prix, and it looks like it's going to be P17, unfortunately for us, with this car performance. Not necessarily surprising here now, as this Perez leading the way, coming to 2 laps to go here into this final chicane. Now, as he's actually going to lock up though in the chicane, and here goes Carlos Sainz. The door has been opened. Sainz has been waiting for an opportunity to strike here, and there it is around the outside. 2 laps to go here in Silverstone, and they're going to be side by side again into turn 1. We saw them battle earlier after the pit stops, and now they're going to go at it again, and Perez, with the potentially a choke right there, has given the lead to Carlos Sainz, but Perez knows how important it is to get back to that front position right here before the DRS, and he's going to be around the outside here potentially of Carlos Sainz, but we know that Ferrari has so much straight line speed right here in this game so far, and you're going to see the rear wing's going to be open for Perez, but that's not going to make much of a difference. Carlos Sainz is making more headway than Perez is here as they go down into the left-hander, still wheel to wheel here between Perez as well as Sainz. In the background, Verstappen and Hamilton, love what they're seeing. Never say never for them, but Perez would retake the lead here as we take a look at the lockup right here for Perez on the left front tire. Open the door wide open for Carlos Sainz. Now, Carlos was still very close though into the next DRS zone, and he was close enough to make a move again on Perez here. Now, as we were approaching the final lap of this Grand Prix, you saw Verstappen and Hamilton chasing in the background, over 3 seconds the difference here now, but Perez holds on to the spot, but Sainz is going to try and go around the right-hand side here into the chicane. What a move again from the Spaniard. You know he wants that first win in Formula 1. Perez with a couple wins under his belt at this point in time, looking for his 3rd career win, but Sainz might want it a little bit more. I think we're about to find out who wants it more as this final lap is underway. You see Verstappen and Hamilton chasing in the background, and once again it's Perez out in front, but Sainz is going to do what Perez did last lap. He's going to send it up the inside here into the right-hander now as they're going to continue wheel to wheel into the DRS zone, and Verstappen and Hamilton, they're closing quick, but is it quick enough to join the party here now, as you're going to see Carlos is going to get in behind and once again go back to the right-hand side of Perez. Look at the straight line speed of the Ferrari right there compared to the Red Bull, with the DRS assistance of course on that Ferrari now as they continue in through the right carousel, and look at that, Verstappen and Hamilton, they are close, but Carlos Sainz completes the pass. Is that going to be it? Is the race now in Carlos Sainz's hands? We're about to find out here as we head through comps one final time, and Perez just needs to remain close enough to have the DRS, because if he has DRS here, you never say never. He could still win this Grand Prix here now as they are very close, and Perez is absolutely going to be all over Carlos Sainz here into the DRS zone, and Verstappen and Hamilton lurking in the back, hoping that something happens between these two drivers here. But here we go, one final chance for Perez to retake the lead after he threw it all away here with a lockup into the chicane, and here he goes up the inside. A couple of corners remain there, wheel to wheel, side by side for the win. Sainz looking for win number 1, and Perez looking for win number 1 on the season at least, but it's Carlos Sainz who hangs on through the final chicane. chicane, penultimate corner, final turn. Carlos Sainz, for the first time in Formula 1, is going to win a Grand Prix in absolute spectacular fashion here with a 2-lap duel, wheel to wheel, with Sergio Perez there. What a win for Carlos Sainz, as I would pick up a 3-second time penalty just because why not here on this final lap. It doesn't matter because we're 8.5 seconds ahead of Nicholas Latifi, but Carlos Sainz finally goes to the top step of the podium at the same venue that he did in real life this past weekend. They're side by side up ahead of us between Vettel and Albon here into the final chicane, but Vettel is going to hold on to the spot. It was a quiet day for us here in Silverstone, but boy was it a crazy day everywhere else, especially at the front. There was some fantastic racing overall, just like we saw in real life, as we're going to come through to cross the line for a 17th place finish in the Silverstone British Grand Prix. So not what we were looking for here in the British GP, but overall the track was so much fun to race this time out. I was actually happy with 17th place, and Sebastian Vettel will win Driver of the Day. Let's head to the podium for Sainz's first win celebration.
And here's our winner, pulling their Ferrari into Parc Ferme after a fantastic race. Well, Anthony Davidson, a resounding victory today, but what set them apart from the rest?
Well, I honestly feel it was down to the driver and car today. I mean, we can talk driver skill all day, but if you don't have a solid team to back that, you're never going to get anywhere. When you hit that sweet spot of having both an excellent driver and an incredible car, that's when you see results like those we witnessed today.
Looking at the podium, you can see that.
There you see Carlos Sainz walking through the tunnel, about to celebrate there on that top step of the podium alongside Sergio Perez, as well as Max Verstappen. So Leclerc's first DNF of the season opened the door wide open for a feel-good win, as well as Red Bull's Perez and Verstappen are able to make some headway on Leclerc, and so is Sainz. Sainz is third in the standings right now and not far off whatsoever from Verstappen, and actually even closer now. But as well, Red Bull picked up some important constructors points. Now, I did say, I don't know how accurate I'm going to be, but I said it feels like with how dominant Leclerc's been, that one issue can just kind of open the floodgates for things to just kind of spiral downhill for that Ferrari driver and team. We'll have to wait and see starting in the next episode in Austria if that's going to come true or not, because don't forget, in Austria we as well have a sprint race, so that could open a new door of craziness there. Our second of 3 sprint races here on the season, and then we go to the third one way late in the season here. Weird that we got 2 sprint races in the first half of the season, and then we don't have another one until all the way at Brazil. There you see the drivers and constructor standings, and even after the Leclerc retirement, he still has a very, very comfortable point lead now, as Red Bull is still over 100 points back in the constructors as well. So Red Bull has a lot of work to do. Carlos Sainz has a lot of work to do if he wants to run down his teammate of Charles Leclerc now, as we head to the headquarters post-race here and trying to choose how we want to use the free time, the little free time we have here leading up into the Austrian GP here in the next episode. Once again, another part failed there to develop, but like I said, I think the main thing we want to look at here, we got almost $4 million now. What I kind of want to do is focus on trying to upgrade the specific part of the facilities that improve the speed of the development of parts. I feel like that is kind of what I want to focus on right now. Let me know what you guys would recommend here if you got some more knowledge. As you guys know, this is only my first time ever doing my team, so I'm still a pretty rookie. I'm a rookie to my team is exactly what it is here now. As we head in to look at that schedule, we got Austria and France coming up here. France, I'm not a huge fan of that circuit, so it'll be interesting to see how we do there, but I'm still nonetheless excited for the challenge. As always, if you guys enjoyed, you know what to do. I'd like to thank you all for taking the time of your day for watching. I really, really do appreciate it, as well as we have the signings for Piastri. We have to renew him here after the next episode in Austria there, so that's going to open up a door for more money spending, unfortunately, for the team. So that's going to do it for me. Once again, thank you all for watching. I appreciate it so much, and I will see you guys in the next one where we head to Austria with a sprint race as well. Thank you for watching. Have yourselves a great day.